Hello, everybody. This is Lou Lafredo, and you are watching, of all things, the inaugural episode of 10 Minutes with PHN, or 10 Minutes with Pro Hockey News. I say finally because we have been planning this for about a year. First suggested by a good friend of the show, a good friend of mine from New Jersey, Chris Riley, who has incredible experience as a producer of hockey at the international level with the Olympics as well as Stanley Cup finals, and he still does production back east out of New Jersey, working Islanders games, Devils games, and Rangers games, as well as some other sports in the area. We are going to have Chris on the show soon. He was scheduled to be the first, but after thinking about it, really wanted to have the real person who got this 10 minutes with PHN up off the ground and into the realm of reality. And so I am welcoming to the first show, the inaugural 10 minutes with PHN, Nicholas Prencipe out of Toronto. He's with Humber Polytechnic College up in Toronto, and he's with the media department and creative arts. And Nicholas, welcome to the show again, and tell me, how are you doing today?
I am amazing. Thank you for having me. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure to be here. I'm riding a very high note of Tuesday's game against Ottawa. Just a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, just before we started recording, you and I mentioned one particular play or series of activities on the ice down at the Maple Leafs goal when Anthony Stolarz used his goalie stick to try and chop a tree down.
Amazing. That's my tendy.
Absolutely, I just um, you know. I thought that game two, he claimed ownership of the Toronto goaltending duties.
I would agree. I also think he claimed ownership long before the season ended. I think just the way he commanded the net and his
Yeah.
presence. I love Joe Wall, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
I just think he's a very, I don't want to say animated, but very overreactive in the sense where he's all or nothing. And
Right,
he's either going to make the big save, but he's going to be out of position for the next one. That I love him, but
right.
Stolarz is more solidarity.
More, yeah, that sort of stay at home, the good positioning in deep when he has to be out at the top of the crease when it's necessary. Um, but that whole sequence in game two, I just thought um, was the best thing I have seen in a hockey game in a decade.
He laid the biggest hit of the series.
Yeah,
That was
yes,
the biggest hit of the series so far.
absolutely. And as we talked about, they both received 2 minutes, which seemed uh, fair, right? They were both um, tussling at the top of the crease. It was sort of even. But at some point, they had some whistle had to be blown to make it all go away. So, Nicholas, you're coming to us after Joanne Sadowski in your department, faculty member in your department, had gotten in touch with Pro Hockey News. Really, this started back in August of last year, and we had gone back and forth about us hosting interns. Um, it sort of had some hiccups along the way, but you are our first intern out of Humber, and it's something that we have always wanted. We have always wanted the opportunity to make our site available to someone who would want to learn about journalism. But having an solid internship program has always been something of a dream, and you were the first to apply, and we have had a great time, obviously, in the last few months. give us a little bit of an idea about your background. Where in your life did journalism become an objective?
I would say grade 11 was the beginning of my journalism journey.
Yeah.
I wasn't the greatest in school, but I loved sports. Sports was always one of my, if not my top priority. Leafs, basketball, didn't matter. I was
Hmm.
always playing sports, watching sports, and not that it took a toll, but my grades in grade 10 weren't the greatest. I was very much just getting by.
Yeah.
And my father knew that I could do better. And I kind of just wasn't putting in the work for it. I got a tutor, a wonderful friend, best friend of my aunt, Jamil Chu Morrison. She is an amazing human being, and I owe my entire journey to her
Yeah.
because she helped me with my English. I went from a 60 in grade 10 to a 90 in grade 11, and she sparked something in me. And when we started writing together, she saw something that I didn't see in myself, and she continuously pushed me forward. And I was like, I need something with sports.
Right.
I know I can do this writing, this journalism.
Right.
Why not mix it together? And here we are today.
So now you had the passion, and where did you take that? What was
I
next?
I began my own Instagram and TikTok account called
Yeah.
Prench Reviews. My nickname through elementary school and high school was Prench, which
Huh.
shortening of my last name,
Yeah, yeah.
because there was just too many Nicholases. So we had to figure out who was who.
Yeah.
So I started a channel called Prench Reviews, where after all the Leafs games I would watch, I would analyze and just talk about the game for a minute or two and
Right.
post it. And it wasn't getting recognition, but it was just for me and also for the future to show people that I've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
I took that into college, and then this final year, I actually started a podcast with my buddy called the Leaf the Lights On podcast, where we kind of discussed everything hockey related, but more Leafs related.
Right. Which is, I did see that podcast title, and I love it. It's absolutely perfect. So tell me about your experience in Humber. Because the reason I'm asking that is because Joanne has been absolutely over the moon about the relationship that we've started. And she has been really positive about all of the interns. I think your experience with us and some of the feedback that Joanne is going through. We now have five interns from Humber either working currently or going to come in next month with the start of the new semester. How does that progress your professional goals?
Well, Humber is very hands-on, and that's probably the biggest takeaway that I've had
Right,
is comparing university and college in
right,
Canada. College is a lot more technical, hands-on experience, whereas university is more written work and
right,
studying maybe background stuff.
right.
So in my first year at Humber, I actually transferred into the program a semester in because I was in media communications.
Okay,
And that program, once I started doing it, it was a very mix of media.
right,
And I knew that wasn't for me. Like, I do not like InDesign. I do not like Adobe. I hate all that stuff. Right. So when I saw actual journalism, I was like, okay, let me join there.
yeah,
And right off the bat, I knew that journalism was where I was meant to be because they brought us everything journalistic related. So all forms of media, written,
right,
video, audio, radio, even law. We had law in our first year, and
right,
I enjoyed every second of it. And as the semesters progressed and the years progressed, it just got more in depth. By third year, the beginning of third year, we were able to pick which form of media represented us better. So we had the choice between magazine, TV, radio, and newspaper.
right,
And as much as I enjoy writing and I know I can write, I want to be a voice and not a pencil. So I went into TV and radio, and I did that through the entirety of first semester of third year.
right.
And then second semester of third year, they kind of shut all that off and said, you guys are just writing stories. So I wrote a story saying, how can I, what is it called? how can I be what I want to be if you are not allowing me to?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I basically wrote a story about how the program isn't letting me do anything but write.
Right.
And
Okay.
found out later that that wasn't the case. Just the teacher kind of explained it differently.
Yeah.
Not going to rip into him, not going to
No,
name
no,
name.
yeah.
Just an unfortunate time, and I found out after. So I was able to actually do the medias that I felt more comfortable doing.
That's great.
So after that, I found you guys. Well,
Yeah.
thanks to the help of Joanne, and it's been amazing ever since.
Yeah, because obviously what you brought to us is that voice.